All right, Zach is here to review the Century, but he's got a press car today. That's
It's a little bit bigger than a K car.
you know, let's do a size comparison, shall we?
Oh my god.
Oh goodness gracious. Good morning, everybody. I am currently hanging out in the back of our 1997 Toyota Century, and it is very, very quiet in here. I think this is the closest thing that I have to a sound studio here at Tiki HQ. This one is available, which is great, and there's a video coming up on this one pretty soon, probably within the next couple of days, so bear with me. But for today, I wanted to talk more about cars that are just over the horizon of import legality, everything from a couple of months to a few years, to show you guys what is actually out there. After all, it's kind of annoying to hear from folks that JDM importing is over because the legends are here. Well, I'll tell you this right now, just because the legends that were on the video games that you guys grew up with are illegal doesn't mean that's it for JDM. There is so much interesting, fun, and quirky stuff on the horizon, not to mention some serious heat when it comes to performance that are just out of reach. And I'm talking a couple of months on some of these guys that you're going to want to see. So let's jump into the studio, grab some pictures from our auction sites, and show you guys what is over the horizon. So we're going to kick this off with the Mitsubishi Colt. Now, if this name sounds familiar, it actually dates back a long way, and we're talking way long ago, like all the way back to 1962. So Mitsubishi has used this nameplate on a lot of different vehicles, whether it's trucks, vans, sedans. They marketed them in the United States under the Mitsubishi Mirage mark for a long time, but in 2002, Japan released this new version, specifically the Z30. And this car actually shares its chassis with another popular car, the Smart 4.4, ironically enough. Now, Mitsubishi did start this one in 2002 and marketed it all the way up until 2014, but then the Colt Plus was introduced in 2007 and is still being manufactured today. This is a pretty universal platform for them. The 3-door hatchback, a 5-door hatchback, 5-door station wagon, which is the Plus, and a 2-door retractable hardtop, which is super cool. But these are always either front-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, and do come with naturally aspirated i4s or MyVec Turbo i4s as well, and definitely shows off the Mitsubishi kind of fascia of the era with that split grille, with that triangular shape to really reflect their logo up front. So really interesting little cool hatchback. They are very sporty, especially with that turbo, and they are definitely still popular in Japan. So hey, just one more year and you can have one of these nifty little guys. Now, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, Tiki, there's no way Daihatsu put out another 4-door boxy K-van of the era when they already have the Naked, the Mira, the Move, and all of the others we've talked about. Well, you'd be wrong, because this is the Daihatsu Esse. Even though it's a mere 4 years out, but this was manufactured from December of 2005 all the way up until 2011, and much like every other Daihatsu box, these guys are either front-engine 4-wheel drive or front-engine 2-wheel drive. But that being said, this one has some fun curves up front and is definitely a memorable little guy. There's even a really cool version that's coming up called the VS Memorial Edition that celebrated the 100th anniversary of Daihatsu's founding. So, if you're looking for another Daihatsu box that not everyone's going to have, this is definitely something to consider. It's very much a fun little thing to have around. And much like every other Daihatsu of the era, these did come in 3- and 4-speed automatics, but they did come in a 5-speed manual, but unfortunately enough, the only engine that you can get is a naturally aspirated guy, so these are very much little fun commuters. Toyota is pretty much the kings of short-run, very interesting cars, and the Toyota Mark II Blit is no exception to that rule. Now, in 2002, this guy was released to replace the Mark II Qualis, and what this essentially is the Mark II wagon. These guys were a return to their rear-wheel drive with optional all-wheel drive. Toyota did want these to stand out from the Camry wagon, which was front-engine, front-wheel drive, to make these a little bit more performance-oriented. These did have a straight-six engine with an optional turbo, but they did discontinue the model in 2006. But the engines did continue to power the sedan model, so this is definitely something that is a short-run rarity, and I think the looks on this one are pretty good. And hey, you just always need a wagon. They're useful, they're fun, and they look great. The next car up is one that we already have a version of that's legal. In fact, we've had legal versions of this for quite some time, considering the first generation of the Nissan March came out in 1982. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the second generation K11, which was pretty iconic, but this is the K12 generation that came out in 2002 and was manufactured all the way up until June of 2010. I really like the look of this because it's got that really happy face with the split grille, very Blobject era, very much early 2000s, and this one is just really fun across the board. Now, these either came in a 5-speed manual or a 4-speed automatic. Most of these engines were going to be straight up naturally aspirated, but they did put out a 1.5-liter diesel engine in these, so definitely a car to take a look at. Just a year away. I really think these are going to be popular, and they're not going to be expensive by any stretch of the imagination. Very fun cars. One of the more iconic cars that is mere months away, released in August of 2001, is the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution version 7. Now, in 2001, Mitsubishi was forced to make some changes to their car based on the WRC rulings, as opposed to the old Group A class rules. So they no longer needed to make a homologation special to put this car out. So they actually changed some things, mainly with the differentials, and added some additional torque, put out some new engine tweaks and got it a little bit greater airflow and horsepower. So this guy came out with 276 horsepower at the end of 2001, and this design is both really iconic and really cool at the same time. So if you're looking for an Evolution 7, this might be the time to strike so that we can grab them a little bit before everybody else starts to gold rush them, put it in storage for a few months, and then get it right to your door the moment it's legal, because let's be honest, these are awesome. Next up is an odd one, especially because it's Nissan's first foray into the K market. Now, the Nissan Clipper actually dates all the way back to 1954 with a heavy truck called the Clipper that looks like this. But in the more modern era, in 2003, Nissan rebadged the Mitsubishi Mini Cab to make both the van and truck versions. And you can still see these guys all over Japan, and they've just been out of reach for us here in the United States. But in a mere 2 years, these guys are going to be floodgates open coming into the United States. Now, they do have a very boxy, kind of split grille look. Even the headlights are really boxy, which is unusual for the era. But I do think these are going to be pretty popular because they are playful. They're Nissan's first foray into Ks, even though it's a Mitsubishi. But all things considered, they're really cool, and I cannot wait to see them here. Now, here's one a lot of people have been waiting for, especially because these were first manufactured in 2001 and are just around the corner when it comes to import legality. This is the Toyota Altezza Gita, the fabled wagon version of the legendary Toyota Altezza. Unlike the sedan version that had the famed Beams engine, these guys, the AS300 models, all had the 3-liter 2JZ engine. Now, unfortunately enough for enthusiasts, these were all automatic transmissions. The rear-wheel drive had a 5-speed, where the 4-wheel drive version had a 4-speed. So it's a bit of a compromise when it comes to performance, but all things considered, not only do these look great because they're wagons, but they do in fact drive great. And a 5-speed automatic is absolutely nothing to sneeze at. These cars are fun, look good, and I cannot wait to bring them in. Now take a minute to look at the Mitsuoka Nouera. Go ahead. Tell me what this British-inspired body kit has underneath it. Go ahead, take a real good long look at this guy and figure out what's underneath it. And I'll tell you this right now, it's not, for the first time, a Nissan. The Nouera is actually Mitsuoka's first non-K car model made by a manufacturer other than Nissan. Have you guessed yet? Because underneath is actually a 2004 Honda Accord of all things. So if you like that reliability of a 2 or 2.4 liter Honda K series engine, but you really don't like those looks, boy oh boy, does Mitsuoka have you set with this guy right here. So if you're a big fan of quirky looks, this just might be your guy. In a mere 3 years, you can pick one of these up and drop it off in your driveway. And of course, for you Subaru fans, we've got one that's both interesting and a little controversial. This is the Subaru R2, not to be confused with the Subaru R-2, which is manufactured from 69 to 72. This one is just the R2, which is manufactured from 2003 all the way up until 2010. Now, its looks are not the controversial part, because this fun little K-car has a quote-unquote aviation-inspired grille with the spread wings, which I really like. These things are cute as buttons, and they're definitely of the early 2000s Blobject era, but they look great, especially with the little fender flare thing they've got going on. No, the controversial part of these is that they came with CVTs. Now, Subaru has not been exactly known for its quality CVTs, especially through the 90s with the eCVT and the Sambar, which wasn't exactly a robust transmission. Now, there are 5-speed versions of this, which are great, it's just they're rare. And there's also a supercharged version of this, which is fantastic because they've got their own intercooler on there. And if you can find one that's manual and supercharged, you have got a really plucky, very fun, very cute little K-car, but most of them are unfortunately enough these iCVTs. Sure, they're a little bit more reliable than the old eCVTs, but at the same time, it's still a CVT, which, as we all know, is kind of a ticking time bomb. So let me know down in the comments, would you buy one of these with a CVT, knowing full well that it could go wrong, even though these looks are super great? Would you buy one with a CVT and a supercharger, or would you hold out for that manual transmission? Also a mere 3 years out is the first generation Toyota Porte. Now, this one is an unusual car to say the least, even though there are lots of other cars that have a 3-door configuration, most notably the Suzuki Wagon R. But this one goes above and beyond because, have you seen it on the passenger side yet? That line down the rear quarter? That's actually a gigantic sliding door on this otherwise nondescript hatch. And also, just as a quick aside, look at the interior on these things. It's just so sherbety. It's just fantastic. It's just so of the era. It just reminds me of old iMac commercials from way back in the first gen. Like, this thing just captures the early 2000s so perfectly. Oh, and by the way, that big door on the left side is actually power. You can just hit this button and it opens for you. It makes perfect sense for existing in Tokyo and other Japanese cities where space is at an absolute premium and you really don't have the space to open that big door. So a slider just makes sense. Based on the Toyota Vitz, this was inspired by other European models that were putting sliding doors on smaller cars. But that being said, this one just looks interesting and fun and definitely has a little parlor trick with that door. So if you want a Toyota that's reliable, that's going to go the distance, but is also easy to get in and out of, this just might be yours, because there's no other car that I've seen that has this kind of configuration and this kind of style with a giant sliding door. It's just interesting. Now, of course, as I said last time, this is not an exhaustive list by any stretch of the imagination. There are a ton more cars just over that horizon, just out there, just out of reach when it comes to import legality. This is not an exhaustive list by any stretch of the imagination, but if you guys have anything that's out there that you want to see coming up, let me know and I'll put it in the next one so that we can go over it and everybody can see what really nifty stuff is right there within our grasp. All right, thanks everyone for this one. You'll be seeing some new stuff with the Honda Acti truck that we got in recently, some new announcements, some Japan news, and this wonderful Toyota Century, all coming up. Thanks everyone. Talk to you next time.